Jason Statham gets made fun of by a loud young MMA fighter. But what Jason does next shocks the whole crowd. Stay with us to find out what happens. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more exciting stories. "This old man is just a joke with a beard," the young fighter shouted. His voice was loud and mean. The microphone shook in his hand. He stood in the middle of the fighting ring, breathing hard, sweat dripping down his face. He had just knocked out another fighter, a much older man. That man was lying flat on his back, not moving much. His mouth was open, and one glove was shaking. The medics rushed in to help him, but the young fighter didn't even look at him. He walked around like a peacock, acting like a king. His boots thumped on the mat. He held out his arms like he was soaking in cheers. But the crowd wasn't all happy. Some people jumped up and clapped, yelling loudly. Others sat still, looking worried. People whispered to each other. No one liked how badly that old man got beat. It was fast. It was mean. It was ugly. Then the fighter did something even worse. He leaned over the hurt man, pointed, and laughed. "You weren't even hard," he shouted. Then he grabbed the microphone from the announcer like it was part of his act. And maybe it was. He turned slowly and looked into the bright lights. Then his eyes found someone sitting quietly in the front row. A shadow of a man. "Hey Jason," the kid shouted. "Jason Statham." That name hit the room like a firecracker. In the front row, one seat from the aisle, Jason Statham sat still. He didn't move. He didn't smile. He didn't clap. He sat with his legs apart, one arm resting on his knee. His denim shirt sleeves were rolled up. His big boots touched the floor. His jaw was tight. His eyes didn't blink. He just stared at the young fighter. "You think you're tough just because people tell jokes about you online," the fighter said, walking around the ring. "Why don't you come in here, legend? Let's see if you've got anything left besides a silly catchphrase." Someone in the back laughed, but it sounded nervous. Someone else whispered, "Jesus." Jason still didn't move, but the whole room felt quiet, like it was waiting. The young fighter kept teasing. "You sit there quietly like some cowboy ghost. Well, guess what, old man? This isn't the movies. In here, there's no stunt double." People started shifting in their seats. Some were still yelling. Others just stared, quiet. An older man behind Jason leaned forward and said quietly, "He doesn't know what he just did." Jason stood up. He didn't jump. He didn't stomp. He just rose slowly, like a statue waking up. The whole place went silent. You could hear the lights buzzing above. All the cameras turned to him like they had been waiting. Jason rolled his shoulders once. Then he picked up his jacket, folded it neatly, and gave it to a crew guy. Then he started walking toward the ring. His boots echoed loudly with every step. It sounded like warning shots. In the ring, the young fighter was still smiling, bouncing on his feet. "About time," he said. "Come on, cowboy. Let's make this your last ride." Jason didn't say anything. He just walked. Step after step. Slow and calm. It was the walk of someone who had explained himself too many times, and now was done talking. No fire in his eyes. No anger on his face. Just that steady walk that made everyone stare. Someone in the crowd shouted, "Jason." Then others joined in. "Jason. Jason. Jason." The young fighter's smile started to shake. Just a little. In the ring, the kid punched the air and waved Jason in. "Come on, old man. Time to learn something." Jason stopped at the gate, looked once at the lights, then stepped into the ring. No referee. No warm-up. No music. Just silence. Thick, tight silence. The fighter bounced in place, breathing hard, still talking. "Are you ready to be humbled? Or are you just here for a picture, Grandpa?" Jason lifted his chin. No smile. No words. Just those calm, sharp eyes. He took 2 slow steps forward. The air changed. You could feel it. Not fear, but respect. The kind that's earned by years of hard work. Now the two stood face to face. The crowd leaned forward. The lights dimmed. The noise disappeared. One question filled the room. Was that kid really ready to find out who Jason Statham still was? But all this started only a little while ago. The night had just begun when Jason Statham first stepped into the ring. Not to fight, but to speak. The announcer's voice echoed through the stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our special guest and tonight's sponsor, Mr. Jason Statham. The crowd didn't cheer. They rumbled. It was a deep sound. It rolled through the seats and bounced off the walls. Phones lit up. People stood. Cameras turned on without thinking. Jason didn't wave. He didn't smile. He just walked out, legs wide apart, like someone who still remembered how to fight. He wore a denim shirt, jeans thick enough to stop a knife, and boots that spoke for themselves. He walked to the center ring. The announcer gave him the mic with both hands, like it was heavy. Jason took it slowly, lifted it to his lips, waited for the noise to stop. Then he said in a calm voice, "I know what I trained for my whole life isn't quite the same as tonight. I studied martial arts, karate. Some of you might remember that. It came from balance, spirit, and control." He looked across the crowd. Young people, old people, new fighters, veterans. His voice stayed calm, but deeper now. "But I know real fighters. And I know what grit looks like. That's why I'm proud to be part of this tournament. Not for the violence. Not for the blood. But because it gives people a chance. A place to train, sacrifice, and believe in something bigger." The crowd was quiet. Listening. That's what this whole thing is about. Silence. Then boom. The crowd cheered like a dam breaking. People stood up. Clapped. Yelled. Not because they were excited, but because they respected him. Jason nodded once, gave back the mic, and went to his seat in the front row. Right next to the cage. That close to the action, he sat with arms crossed, eyes calm. And then the chaos began. The tournament started. At first, things were clean. Good fights. Fast punches. Nice footwork. Respect between fighters. No one stood out yet. Just a bunch of kids chasing a dream. Then the fourth bracket came up, and everything changed. A name no one knew. It said Dante. No bio. No interview. No warm-up video. People didn't know whether to cheer or boo. But once the bell rang, they figured it out fast. He didn't dance. He didn't wait. He hunted. His first opponent was tough. Mid-30s. Strong. But in just 15 seconds, Dante knocked him out cold. The ref tried to stop it. Too late. Dante kept hitting him. Even when the man lifted a glove to give up, Dante pulled it down and hit him again. Jason winced. Just a little. Around his eyes. The crowd didn't cheer. They gasped. A woman near the front turned away. The medics ran in. The man wasn't moving. Blood gathered on the mat. Jason sat there, jaw tight. He didn't say anything, but he wiped a small spot of blood from his jeans. And Dante didn't stop. Fight after fight, Dante walked through people like it was easy. He didn't just win, he made fun of his opponents. He mocked them during fights. He threw their mouth guards into the crowd. He danced over knocked-out fighters like he was in a show. Some kids still cheered, but most people got quiet. Something about Dante felt wrong. He liked hurting people too much. Jason watched the whole time. Didn't move. Didn't look away. Then came the final. The last fighter was older. Built strong. Tough. Maybe 40. He had won his fights with smart moves, not flashy ones. He touched gloves with Dante and laughed. Then the bell rang. It was worse than before. Dante came out wild. Fast. Mean. No skill. Just violence. He faked a right, spun, and dropped the old man with one elbow. Then he didn't stop. He climbed on top of him. Hit his chest with a knee. Then punched again and again. First punch, the man tried to block. Second punch, he covered up. Third, his eyes closed. Fourth, Jason stood halfway up. It took the ref shoving Dante off to stop it. The older man didn't move. Didn't blink. His face was shiny with blood. Too much blood. Then Dante snapped. Before the medics could help, he grabbed the mic again. His breath was loud. His shoulders moved fast. He pointed at the front row. "Jason Statham," he yelled. The crowd froze. Blood still dripped from Dante's glove. "You watching, old man? Still think you got it?" Jason didn't flinch. Dante kept walking. "You talk about spirit and balance? You see that? That's control. That's power." He spit on the mat. "You want to show everyone what the past looks like? Step in here and do it." The crowd moved a little. Some people whispered. Some just stared at Jason like he was a bomb about to go off. Jason didn't move, but the muscle in his jaw moved once. The doctors carried the hurt fighter away on a stretcher. Cameras followed Dante like buzzing flies on food. But Jason never took his eyes off the center of the fighting cage. And Dante noticed. That smile of his got a little bigger. But behind that smile, you could already tell. He had gone too far. And Jason didn't need a microphone to answer. Everything got quiet. Dante stood in the middle of the cage. There was dry blood on his gloves. His hair was messy and stuck to one side. His chest was going up and down like he was still ready to fight, even though the fight had already ended 2 minutes ago. He picked up a microphone like he was about to give a speech to everyone. No one knew what he was going to say. "You know what's wrong with fighting today?" Dante asked, turning in a slow circle so everyone had to look at him. Too many old stories. Too many bedtime tales pretending to be real men. He looked right at Jason Statham again, who was still sitting in the front row. "Yeah, I'm talking about you, cowboy." People in the crowd started talking. Some gasped. Some laughed. Others didn't know what to do. But Jason didn't move. Not even a little. He kept his arms crossed. Legs still. His face is hard like a statue. Dante kept talking. "People say stuff like discipline and honor make you strong. You know what real strength looks like." He raised his fist and hit his chest. This. Real power. Muscle and pain. The kind that doesn't care how old you are. Or what movies you've made. Or those silly little moves you did on old videotapes. Jason blinked once. That was it. "This isn't some silly dance," Dante shouted. "This is real. We fight with blood and bruises and broken bones. Not some cowboy kicks with music in the background." He kept going. "This isn't your old, dusty kind of fighting from back in the day. That stuff you used to sell on tapes is nothing compared to now." There it was. Like a slap to the face. But with words instead of a hand. "Jason Statham," Dante said, like the name tasted bad in his mouth. "You're a museum statue. A joke people share online. A man living off old stories. Because you've got nothing left to show with your fists." Some people booed. Some stood up and looked for security. Others whispered, eyes wide. Near the judges' table, some people with headsets were moving quickly. They were the event organizers. They didn't expect this to happen. No one warned them about something like this. Jason was their sponsor. The legend. His face was on all the posters. And now he was getting insulted in front of everyone. A short man in a jacket, maybe the main event boss, was already on the phone. He looked scared. Not for Dante, but for the man sitting like a statue just a few feet away. Jason hadn't blinked since Dante started talking. Then Dante said the final words. The big challenge. "You want to show everyone you still matter, old man? Then come in here. Or just keep sitting there while your name becomes a joke." The crowd moved again. That feeling, the heavy, quiet kind. It spread through every row, every seat, every bit of air. You could feel it in your bones. Jason moved. Not fast. Not in a flashy way. He reached down with both hands. Touched the bottom of his brown jacket. And slid it off his shoulders like he knew exactly what he was doing. "Jason," said a quiet voice next to him. It was his assistant. A younger man in his 30s. He looked strong, serious. Maybe a former soldier or spy. He usually didn't get scared. But now, he looked nervous. "You sure you want to do this?" the assistant whispered. Jason folded his jacket carefully and handed it to him without taking his eyes off Dante. The assistant leaned in close. "Now's the time to walk away," he said softly. "He's not worth it. Everyone's watching. Sponsors. Reporters. You don't have to do this." Jason's voice was calm. "So calm it gave you chills. A man doesn't lose his temper over stuff like this," he said. Then he paused. Just long enough to glance at his assistant. With something deep in his eyes. Something older than anger. "And I'm not angry," he said. "I'm as calm as I've ever been." Then he stepped forward. Just one step. That's all it took. The crowd, already on the edge of their seats, exploded with noise. Phones came up. Heads turned. People shouted. "He's going in," someone yelled. "Jason stepping in." Dante smiled in the cage. Like a dog waiting for dinner. "You finally showing up, Grandpa," he shouted. Jason didn't say anything. He walked up the steps of the cage. Like he'd done it 100 times. Like it was just a regular day. He didn't move fast. But every step felt strong. Like it meant something. Inside the cage, Dante bounced up and down. His gloves ready. His chest puffed up like a rooster. Jason didn't copy him. He just walked forward. With his hands down. Body relaxed. Eyes locked on Dante. Not like he was stepping into a fight. But like he was walking into a mistake Dante had made. "Hope you stretched," Dante joked, grinning. Jason still didn't say anything. Not to him. Not to anyone. And then the crowd did something strange. They got quiet. No cheering. No chanting. Just quiet. The kind of silence that happens before something big. Something scary. Like a storm about to hit. The people running the event didn't move. The security guards stayed frozen. There was no bell. No referee. This wasn't part of the plan. It wasn't supposed to happen. But no one dared stop it. Jason and Dante were standing just a few feet apart. The air between them felt tight. Like it could snap. "You ready?" Dante asked, still bouncing. Jason didn't answer. He just stepped forward. Now they were really close. Close enough to hear each other breathing. And for the first time, Dante's smile started to fade. Not fear. Not yet. But something like doubt. Because up close, Jason didn't look scared. Or nervous. He didn't blink. He didn't move. He didn't act like the person Dante thought he would. Jason just stood there. Quiet. Strong. Like time itself. And Dante's confidence started to crack. There was no bell. No countdown. Nothing official. But it didn't matter. Inside that cage, 2 men stood. The crowd was too stunned to cheer. Too locked in to move. Like the air itself had stopped. Dante bounced on his feet. Ready to attack. Jason just stood still. Calm. Watching. Dante moved first. He didn't hold back. Not even a little. He ran forward fast. Like a train. His first punch was sharp, aimed at Jason's face. Then a big hook meant to break a jaw. Then an elbow. A move to end it all. But Jason didn't even blink. He moved his head just a little. The punch missed. The hook missed. By the time the elbow came, Jason had already stepped to the side. Quiet. Smooth. Like a breeze moving through trees. Dante didn't stop. He kept throwing punches. Kicks. Big wild moves. But something was off. His hits didn't land. They missed by inches. Jason didn't even look like he was trying. He moved like he already knew every move Dante was going to make. Each little step. Each lean. Every shoulder twist. It all made Dante's attacks miss. And Jason still hadn't hit back once. The crowd watched in silence. Then they realized. This wasn't luck. This was control. Real, powerful control. Dante was breathing hard. But he kept trying. He did a spinning kick. I missed it. A low leg sweep. Jason just stepped over it. Dante's breathing got louder. Each move was more angry. More wild. He started to lose his rhythm. Jason wasn't fighting back. He was taking Dante apart. Bit by bit. Quietly. calmly. Dante's moves got slower. Sloppy. He got tired. His footwork dragged. His punches got weak. He couldn't get back in control. Jason still didn't chase him. Didn't taunt him. Just moved around him, guiding the whole fight, without even touching him. Like a hunter leading a wild animal into a trap. Not with force. Just with smarts. Come on. Dante yelled, his voice cracking. Stand still and fight me. Jason didn't answer. His silence said more than Dante's shouting ever could. Dante was embarrassed now. Angry. He charged again, trying to slam into Jason with his shoulder. But Jason stepped in close. Not away. And with perfect timing. He punched Dante once in the ribs. No big swing. No fancy move. Just one clean, quiet punch. Like a doctor doing surgery. But hard, like a truck hitting a wall. Dante froze. He couldn't breathe. His knees wobbled. He took 2 steps back, holding his side, mouth open, trying to breathe in air. That wouldn't come. And Jason didn't chase him. He just waited, letting the moment sink in, letting Dante feel it, letting the whole building understand. The storm had answered, and it didn't need to shout. Dante moved again, slower now, his steps dragging. He was tired, sweating. His eyes looked around, not for ways to win, but for help. Then, he ran forward again, sloppy, angry, off balance. Jason didn't wait this time. He slipped to the side, caught Dante mid-swing, and hit him in the shoulder with a sharp elbow. Not flashy, but strong enough to knock Dante off his feet, and send him stumbling. The crowd didn't cheer. They just leaned in, watching the ending come. Dante tried to keep going. He wiped his face. Maybe blood. Maybe sweat. He clenched his fists, lifted them again. But they were shaky now. Then one last try. He lifted his leg for a spinning kick. Everyone in the crowd leaned forward. It was a cool move. Fast. Strong. The kind of move that goes in highlight videos. But it didn't land. Jason saw it coming before it even started. He didn't panic. He didn't flinch. He just shifted his weight, turned his shoulder, and stepped out of the way. Like stepping around a rock. So easy. So calm. Dante landed. Off balance. And that's all Jason needed. He struck. One elbow. Short. Tight. Fast. It hit Dante right on the jaw. Crack. The sound echoed. Like a thick stick snapping. Dante's head turned. His eyes blinked. His legs shook. Something inside him didn't feel right anymore. He didn't see it coming. The fight had changed. Jason didn't hit again right away. He let Dante stumble. Let him feel it. And then Jason moved forward. Not fast. Not showy. But with the calm of a storm that didn't need thunder to be feared. He started picking the right time to hit. A soft punch to the ribs. Not hard but strong. A little kick to the leg. Not to hurt, but to shake him up. Every hit Jason threw landed in the exact spot he wanted. Nowhere else. He didn't waste any energy. He didn't waste any breath. He moved with so much control, it didn't need to be explained. You could feel it right away. Dante started punching back all wild and messy. He wasn't thinking, he was scared. The crowd saw it. They felt it. The boy who had come into the cage smiling and acting brave now looked like he was looking for something that was already gone. He had nothing left to stand on. Jason didn't rush. He kept moving slowly and calmly. He dodged every punch Dante threw at him. His face stayed quiet. His eyes looked forward. He wasn't angry. He wasn't happy. He was just watching Dante fall apart. Dante screamed once. It wasn't words. Just a loud sound like a kid getting mad when his toy stops working. Then Dante ran forward, off balance. He threw a big, wild punch. But it had no power behind it. Jason ducked, moved under it, and came up with a quick, clean punch of his own. A right hook. It wasn't big. It wasn't loud. But it was the last one. It hit Dante right above the jaw. His head turned before his body could even catch up. He didn't spin. He didn't go on a trip. He just fell. His knees gave out. His body dropped backward like a tree falling after being chopped too many times. The whole place went quiet. Like someone dropped a bottle of ink in water. No one moved. Some people had their hands halfway up in the air. Others were leaning forward. Some froze. No one could believe something so quiet could feel so powerful. Jason didn't raise his fist. He didn't smile. He just stood there, over the guy who had been yelling his name into a microphone just half an hour earlier. Jason stood like a man who didn't need to say anything else. Down below, the doctors ran in. Dante wasn't moving. His chest went up and down slowly, like it hurt. A doctor knelt by him, flashing a light in his eyes. The announcer didn't come in yet. Nobody did. Then the silence broke. Not one voice, but a small sound grew louder. The crowd started chanting, "Jason, Jason, Jason." First quiet, then louder, then everyone. It shook the building. It wasn't the kind of cheering people do just for fun. It felt real, like deep respect. Jason turned to look at the crowd. Not to say thank you, but just to show he heard them. Then he walked to the cage door. Every step is calm. No hurry. His boots made a soft thump on the floor. He didn't look back at Dante. He didn't need to. He had already taught the lesson. If Dante remembered it or not was up to him. The cage door opened. Jason stepped out. The same helper who had tried to stop him earlier was waiting. Eyes wide, holding Jason's jacket folded over one arm. Jason took it without a word. Put it on one arm, then the other. Buttoned the top button. No interviews. No smiles. No words. He walked back down the aisle the same way he came in. Quiet. Strong. Not bothered at all. Behind him, Dante sat barely sitting up. Legs spread. One glove falling off. Mouth open. He wasn't talking anymore. Wasn't showing off. I wasn't smiling. He just stared. Stared at Jason walking away. Like someone watching a story they thought was fake, but finding out it was always true. Jason was walking away like he didn't owe anyone anything. The chant followed Jason down the hallway. Jason. 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 He didn't wave. He didn't turn around. Jason Statham walked through the hallway like he was walking out of a quiet church, not a cage where a younger man had just fallen to the ground. The hallway was full of workers, staff, and guards. But they didn't move. They just stood still. People stepped aside as Jason walked. Shoulders straight. Jacket on. Boots tapping on the floor. No one said anything. No one had to. He didn't rush. Didn't look around. Didn't smile for the cameras. He just walked. Calm and proud. Like someone who had nothing left to prove. Behind him, the arena was still loud. People are shouting. Phones lighting up. Videos and messages flying all over the internet. But Dante sat in the corner of the cage. Still breathing. Still awake. But not really there. His chest went up and down with each breath like it hurt. The fight had only lasted a few minutes. But the feeling after, that would stay a lot longer. Not just in his body, but in his heart. The crowd wasn't saying his name anymore. They were chanting something else. They were chanting Jason. Over and over again. That name is like a drum. Boom. 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 But Jason didn't care about that. He kept walking down the hallway. Didn't look back. Didn't try to be cool. He just left. About 10 minutes later, reporters finally caught up with him. They didn't wait for permission. The moment Jason came near the cage again, this time outside the ropes, they surrounded him. Cameras flashing. Microphones shoved at him like spears. Jason didn't flinch. He didn't blink. He waited. Let them all get close. Then he lifted his hand, not to tell them to be quiet, but just to hold the moment. And then, for the first time that night, Jason spoke. First of all, Jason said, voice calm but clear, "That kid Dante, he's got talent." The crowd of reporters went quiet. That surprised them. Jason nodded once. He's fast. He's hungry. He's got a fire inside that won't go out easily. He looked back at the cage where Dante still sat, surrounded by his trainers and the doctors. If he ever wants a place to train, or needs someone to help him grow, he can call me. I'll help him. I'll invest in him. Some cameras moved up, trying to catch his eyes. Others zoomed in. I don't hold grudges, Jason said. I hold standards. And what I saw tonight was a fighter. Not finished. Not perfect. But real. And that means something. He paused. Let the words stay in the air. Now I want to say something to all the young boys coming up in this sport, Jason said. His voice got stronger, but not mean. You all want to be strong. You want fame. You want knockouts. That's normal. But being a man isn't about how loud you can yell or how fast you can hit. He looked at the crowd. Eyes clear. Voice firm, but kind. It's about how much you can carry without breaking. It's about how you treat the person standing across from you, even when they're trying to hurt you. Jason crossed his arms. Still calm. Still steady. Real strength isn't just in your fists. It's in your respect. In how you treat someone when they're down. In how you walk away when you've already won. Anyone can punch hard, he said. But not everyone can stand tall without needing people to clap for it. The room got really quiet. Some people leaned in. Others stopped recording and just listened. I've spent a lifetime learning one simple truth, he said. Every fighting style deserves respect. Whether it's jiu-jitsu, boxing, wrestling, taekwondo, whatever. We all climb different mountains. But the climb is hard for everyone who tries. Then he added a quiet line. Not a big quote. Just something soft. You don't have to shout to be heard. Then Jason gave a small nod, turned, and walked away from the cameras, just as calm as he had walked into the cage. By the time he reached the exit, social media had already gone crazy. Videos of that final punch had been slowed down, looped, filtered, and shared everywhere. Headlines were wild. Jason Statham shuts up the loudest mouth in MMA with one perfect punch. When the legend becomes real again, respect doesn't shout. It shows. One video clip, Jason dodging 5 punches and landing his soft, clean hook, was already getting millions of views. Even the TV announcers who were speechless at first finally found words during the replay. One of them just said, he never needed to talk. That's what makes him Jason. Back in the cage, Dante still hadn't spoken. He sat in the corner. Shoulders down. Gloves still on. Mouth open. The crowd had moved on to interviews and chants, but Dante just sat there, staring at the ground. At one point, someone touched his shoulder. Maybe a doctor. Maybe his trainer. Dante shook his head, just once. Not angry. Not hurt. Just like he understood. No one made fun of him. No one booed. Because somewhere between the first punch and the last step, everything changed. And so did he. That night, long after the crowd left, and the lights were turned off, the workers came to clean up. They picked up cups and banners and wrappers. But there was one thing they couldn't clean up or put away. The silence Jason left behind. It had weight. It had meaning. It was real. Even after all the replays were watched, and all the comments posted, that silence stayed. Because noise can make people cheer. But silence, the kind built on respect and calm and strength, that can touch a person's heart. Jason Statham never had to shout. He just had to show up. And that was more than enough. Did you enjoy the story? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. If you had a great time, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you're always in the loop for the next adventure. Thanks for joining me, and as always, stay curious, stay brave, and keep exploring.